Behind the shine of every Roosevelt dime lies a story, of rarity, mistakes, and hidden worth. Over the years, a handful of these dimes have surprised the world by selling for unbelievable prices. Stick around as we uncover the most expensive Roosevelt dimes ever sold. Have you ever thought that the smallest coin in your pocket could hide a life-changing secret? Sometimes, the least expected treasures are the ones we handle every day without a second glance. And that's exactly where we begin today, with a coin that looks like nothing more than an ordinary piece of change but has shocked collectors with its incredible story, the 1984 Roosevelt dime from the Philadelphia Mint. At first sight, it seems so ordinary. Thin, light, and easy to overlook, it was the kind of coin that jingled in every pocket and cash register across America in the 1980s. This dime bought sodas from vending machines, paid for phone calls in public booths, and settled small debts between friends. Yet hidden among the countless millions of these coins, a small number stood apart, coins that would one day capture the imagination of collectors and command values beyond belief. The coin carries the familiar face of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a president whose influence shaped the very fabric of the 20th century. Roosevelt led the nation through the Great Depression, guided it through the trials of World War II, and left a legacy that extended far beyond politics. His personal battle with polio inspired the March of Dimes, a movement that united Americans in the fight against disease. The decision to honor him on the dime in 1946 was more than symbolic, it was a way to connect his legacy to the very cause he championed. By 1984, nearly 40 years after Roosevelt's portrait first appeared on the 10-cent coin, the design by John R. Sinek remained unchanged, familiar to every American. On the front, Roosevelt's profile faces left, surrounded by the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date. On the back, a torch stands tall in the center, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength, surrounded by the words, "United States of America," and "1 dime." Simple, symbolic, and timeless. But what makes the 1984 Roosevelt dime remarkable is not its design, nor its composition, it's the story of survival. These coins were made of a copper core layered with nickel, durable and meant for circulation. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of them. And as soon as they were released, they went straight to work, passing from hand to hand, buying goods, rattling around in pockets and drawers. Most of them quickly became worn, scratched, and unremarkable. Yet, fate has a way of setting aside a chosen few. A handful of 1984 Roosevelt dimes escaped circulation untouched. Some may have been pulled fresh from mint rolls and saved by chance. Others might have been overlooked in collections or set aside in drawers, forgotten for decades. These survivors kept their original shine, their sharp detail, their flawless condition. And those are the coins that collectors now seek, coins that have transformed from pocket change into numismatic treasures. For collectors, rarity isn't always about how many were made, it's about how many remain in top condition. That is where the 1984 Roosevelt P dime tells its most compelling story. Out of the millions minted, only a scarce few have been discovered in the highest grades, their surfaces untouched by time. And it is this rarity in condition that drives the demand and fuels the incredible value of this unassuming little coin. What fascinates collectors even more is the irony. This isn't a gold piece or a silver relic. It isn't an ancient coin dug from the ground or a special commemorative issue. It's a modern dime, a coin that most people still see every single day. And yet, in the right grade, it becomes something so much more, a hidden gem that proves true treasures can come from the most ordinary places. Stories circulate in the collecting world of people finding coins like this tucked away in rolls, or sitting unnoticed in old jars of change. Most pass them by, never realizing what they're holding. But to those who know what to look for, the thrill of discovery is unmatched. Imagine holding a dime worth 10 cents to the world, but to collectors, worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's the magic of numismatics, the extraordinary hiding in plain sight. The 1984 Roosevelt dime from the Philadelphia Mint may look like just another small piece of change, yet it carries a story that sets it apart from the millions struck that year. For many people, it once served its simple purpose, buying a candy bar, feeding a parking meter, or jingling unnoticed in a pocket. But time has a way of revealing hidden treasures. This dime reminds us that rarity and worth are not always visible at first glance. What began as an everyday coin of little attention has now become a prized collectible, celebrated for its scarcity in top condition and admired for the journey it has taken from circulation to preservation. It is almost unbelievable to think how a coin once worth just 10 cents has transformed into a symbol of hidden potential, showing us that even the most ordinary things can hold extraordinary value. And today, when discovered in pristine, high-grade condition, the 1984 Roosevelt dime from Philadelphia holds a coin value of $75,000. Next up, we turn our attention to a coin that hides its importance behind a face of complete normalcy, the 1995 Roosevelt dime from the Philadelphia Mint. It's a coin so common, so familiar, that most people wouldn't think twice about spending it without a second glance. Yet this little piece of metal carries with it a story that has surprised collectors around the world. What appears to be a simple dime has proven that even in modern times, extraordinary treasures can still be found where you least expect them. The 1990s were a decade of transformation. The internet was just beginning to make its way into homes, floppy disks carried information that today would barely fill a text message, and people were still using payphones lined with rows of dimes to call friends and family. In that landscape, the Roosevelt dime was a quiet constant. Struck by the millions at the Philadelphia Mint in 1995, these dimes were small, durable, and practical. Nobody viewed them as anything more than a useful coin to buy a snack, feed a parking meter, or make a phone call. But history has a way of turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. And that's exactly what happened with this issue. The design, of course, was familiar to everyone. Franklin Delano Roosevelt's proud profile on the obverse, honoring the man who led the nation through depression and war, and who lent his name to the March of Dimes, a movement that gave hope to countless families battling polio. On the reverse, the elegant simplicity of the torch flanked by branches of oak and olive, strength and peace balanced on either side of liberty. A design so simple it's easy to overlook, but one that had already been part of American daily life for nearly 50 years. Still, the 1995 Roosevelt P dime is not remembered for its artwork, nor for any special commemorative purpose. Its story lies in rarity of survival. The Philadelphia Mint poured out these coins by the millions, but nearly all of them immediately entered circulation. They were handled, exchanged, stacked, and stored until their once brilliant surfaces became dull, scarred, and worn. For most people, this was their natural fate. But every now and then, fortune intervened. A handful of these coins escaped circulation entirely. Some may have been set aside by someone who liked to keep fresh rolls of change. Others may have slipped unnoticed into a collection and been left untouched for decades. Whatever the reason, these rare survivors remained flawless, their sharp details and brilliant luster unchanged since the day they were struck. For collectors, that's where the real magic begins. Coins are judged not only by how many were minted but by how many remain in the highest state of preservation. A dime that has lived through years of circulation will always be worth just a dime, but one preserved in its pristine state, graded at the very top levels by professional services, becomes something else entirely. It transforms from an everyday coin into a numismatic rarity. This is what makes the 1995 Roosevelt dime from Philadelphia so special. It's not a coin of precious metal. It's not from the 1800s or even early 1900s. It is a modern coin, one most people alive today have spent hundreds of times without a second thought. Yet when a perfect example appears, untouched and flawless, it instantly captures the attention of serious collectors. There's something thrilling about that idea, that an everyday dime, hiding in plain sight, could actually be worth a fortune. Imagine stumbling across one in a forgotten roll, or finding one in a collection passed down from a family member. To most eyes, it looks no different from any other dime. But under the right light, with the right sharpness of detail and flawless surfaces, it reveals its secret. Auction houses have seen the results. Collectors, eager to secure one of the few known pristine examples, have driven prices higher than anyone expected. And it's in those bidding wars, under the spotlight of numismatic history, that the true value of this coin was revealed. So what has this tiny 10-cent coin from 1995 become when found in its finest, untouched condition? Not 10 cents. Not $10. Not even a few hundred. This Roosevelt dime from the Philadelphia Mint, in the absolute highest grade, has reached an astonishing value of $63,000. From a coin designed for laundry machines and payphones to one commanding the price of a brand new luxury car, the journey of the 1995 dime is a reminder of just how unpredictable coin collecting can be. It shows us that rarity doesn't always hide in centuries-old relics, sometimes it's sitting right in our change, disguised as something ordinary. And here's the takeaway: every coin has a story, and every story has the potential to surprise us. The 1995 dime proves that modern coins, often overlooked, can still rise to legendary status. So the next time you're sorting through spare change, pause for just a moment. That dime in your hand could be more than small change, it could be history, value, and discovery all in one. Now let's move on to another fascinating piece hiding in plain sight, the 1998 Roosevelt dime. By the late 1990s, the Roosevelt dime was such a common part of everyday life that most people barely noticed it. Millions of them passed through cash registers, vending machines, parking meters, and pockets across America every single day. To the average person, they were just 10 cents, nothing more, nothing less. But among those countless dimes, a very small number carried details so unique, so striking, that they stood apart and caught the attention of sharp-eyed collectors. The 1998 Roosevelt dime, struck at the Denver Mint, may look ordinary at first glance, but careful inspection reveals a story of minting quirks and rare conditions that elevate it far beyond the rest. In some examples, razor-sharp strikes, immaculate surfaces, and remarkable preservation combine to create a level of perfection that collectors chase endlessly. When a coin like this escapes circulation without a single scratch, mark, or blemish, it transforms from a simple piece of pocket change into a true treasure. Think about how unusual that is: a coin struck in massive numbers, yet surviving in flawless, untouched condition despite being made to be spent every single day. It's like holding a tiny time capsule in your hands, a snapshot of history preserved exactly as it looked the day it rolled off the minting press. And in the world of numismatics, perfection isn't just desirable, it's everything. But the story doesn't stop there. Adding to the intrigue, some examples from 1998 have shown striking mint errors and unusual die characteristics. Imagine spotting a dime with a double strike, where the image has been stamped twice, or a die crack, where a tiny line betrays the imperfection of the minting process. These small quirks, overlooked by most, can dramatically boost the rarity and desirability of the coin. They remind us that even in an age of modern minting, with precise machinery and strict quality control, accidents still happen, and sometimes, those accidents give birth to treasures. The Roosevelt dime itself carries a legacy stretching back to 1946, honoring Franklin D. Roosevelt not only for his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II but also for his role in inspiring the March of Dimes, which helped lead the fight against polio. By 1998, this design had already been in circulation for over half a century, becoming one of the most familiar faces in American pockets. Yet within that familiar design, some coins from that year held secrets that would only be revealed decades later. And that's where the fascination lies. The coin isn't made of silver or gold. It's not an ancient relic from the 1800s. It's not even scarce when measured by how many were minted, tens of millions rolled off the presses. Its rarity lies in survival. The vast majority were spent, scratched, worn down, and forgotten. But a tiny handful slipped through untouched, never jingling in pockets, never clinking against other coins, never dulled by time. These pristine survivors became the hidden gems that collectors chase today with such intensity. Auction houses and private sales have confirmed this extraordinary truth. Whenever one of these flawless 1998 Denver dimes surfaces, the excitement in the collecting world is immediate. Bidders compete with fierce determination, knowing just how few examples in top grades truly exist. Each auction becomes not just a sale, but a battle, a chance to own something so deceptively ordinary, yet so impossibly rare. And so, the question lingers, what can a simple dime from 1998 be worth if it has survived in absolutely pristine condition? Certainly not 10 cents. Not $10. Not even a few hundred. Collectors have pushed the value of these coins far, far higher than most could ever imagine. The answer, revealed under the bright lights of major auctions, is breathtaking. One of these remarkable 1998 D. Roosevelt dimes, preserved in the highest professional grade, has sold for an astonishing $68,000. From a coin meant for candy machines and payphones to one commanding the price of a brand new luxury car, the journey of this dime is nothing short of incredible. It proves that hidden treasures still exist in the most unexpected places. And it serves as a reminder to every collector and treasure hunter out there, sometimes, the greatest discoveries aren't ancient, and they aren't made of precious metals. Sometimes, they're hiding quietly in your change jar, just waiting for someone to notice. From a coin once meant for candy machines and payphones to one now commanding the value of a brand new luxury car, the journey of this dime is nothing short of astonishing. It's living proof that history can be found in the most ordinary corners of our lives. And so, the 1984 Roosevelt dime reminds us all that the greatest discoveries aren't always ancient relics or jewels locked away in treasure chests. Sometimes, they're waiting quietly in your pocket change, in a jar by your bedside, or in a roll of coins at the bank, ready to surprise the one who finally notices. Up next, we're turning our attention to a coin that might seem modern and ordinary at first glance, yet beneath its small silver-colored surface lies a story that continues to surprise collectors, the 2006 Roosevelt P dime. The Roosevelt dime has been a constant in American coinage since 1946, designed as a tribute to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who had passed away just a year earlier. Its design was chosen not only to honor his leadership through the Great Depression and World War II, but also his tireless efforts in the fight against polio, which directly connected to the March of Dimes campaign. By the time 2006 rolled around, the coin had already been in circulation for 60 years. To most people, a dime minted in that year would be just another piece of change tossed into a jar or slipped into a parking meter. Yet, as we'll uncover, not all 2006 dimes are created equal. This was a year that saw billions of dimes struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia Mint, which gave us the coin we're focusing on today, the 2006 Roosevelt P dime, produced an incredible number. With such high mintage numbers, you'd expect every example to be common, easy to find, and essentially worthless beyond face value. That's what makes this particular coin so fascinating. Hidden within those countless billions are examples that have captured the attention of the coin-collecting world and proven to be worth far more than just 10 cents. To understand why, let's first look at the design and what collectors watch for. On the obverse, we see the familiar profile of Franklin Roosevelt, his sharp gaze facing left, with the inscriptions, Liberty, In God We Trust, the date, 2006, and of course the small, P mint mark for Philadelphia. On the reverse, the symbolism continues with the torch of liberty at the center, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength and independence. Simple, yet powerful, a design that has remained unchanged since its introduction. But as every collector knows, it isn't just the design that creates rarity, it's the details, the imperfections, the unusual quirks of the minting process that make certain coins stand out from the rest. For the 2006 P dime, those details come in the form of exceptional condition, striking errors, and an overall rarity of pristine examples that survived circulation untouched. Now, imagine this, billions of dimes are being struck on high-speed presses, day after day. The sheer volume means that quality control, while consistent, cannot catch every flaw. Some dimes might be struck slightly off-center. Others may show doubling, where the design elements appear to overlap. Still others might display weak strikes or unusual planchet defects. Each of these errors transforms what would otherwise be a 10-cent coin into something that can command hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on its uniqueness. But beyond mint errors, condition is everything. A dime that entered circulation in 2006 has, by now, likely spent years rattling in pockets, jingling in coin jars, or sliding through vending machines. The wear and tear of everyday use dulls its details, scratches its surface, and lowers its appeal to collectors. Finding one in average circulated condition isn't special. But finding one in absolutely flawless, mint state condition, preserved as if it just rolled off the press yesterday, is what makes collectors' hearts race. Grading services such as PCGS and NGC play a huge role here. They carefully examine each coin, assigning a grade on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS 70 is considered perfect, with no flaws visible even under magnification. For modern coins like the 2006 P dime, such grades are exceedingly rare. Even MS 68 or MS 69 examples are difficult to find and can command remarkable premiums. And this is exactly where our story takes a turn. In the world of modern coinage, it's often assumed that only older coins carry high value. But every so often, a coin like the 2006 Roosevelt P dime defies that expectation. Collectors hunting for top-grade registry set pieces, coins that complete their collections with the highest possible grade, have driven demand for these exceptional dimes to astonishing heights. Consider the journey of one particular 2006 P dime. Carefully preserved, never having seen the inside of a pocket or cash register, it was submitted to a grading service where it received a nearly perfect grade. This single detail, its condition, elevated it from a common dime worth 10 cents to a rare collectible worth thousands. When it went to auction, fierce competition among collectors pushed the price higher and higher until it finally sold for a sum that shocked the room. And here's the revelation that will leave you stunned: one of these 2006 Roosevelt P dimes, in extraordinary condition, was valued and sold for an incredible $37,000. That's right, $37,000 for a coin most people would dismiss as everyday pocket change. Moving on to our final coin of today's journey, we arrive at the 2014 Roosevelt P dime. At first glance, it might look like the ordinary change you pull from your pocket after a quick trip to the store. But as we've discovered time and time again, appearances can be deceiving. Even a modern coin like this one, struck less than a decade ago, can hold secrets that surprise both casual finders and seasoned collectors. The Roosevelt dime has been a part of American coinage since 1946, introduced as a tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, whose leadership left a lasting mark on the nation. By 2014, the design was nothing new. Millions of dimes were being struck and circulated across the country, filling cash registers, bank rolls, and pockets everywhere. But within this sea of everyday coins, there are always a few that stand apart. So what makes a 2014 dime from the Philadelphia Mint worth paying attention to? The answer lies in the details. Collectors are constantly searching for examples with sharp, flawless strikes, free from scratches or blemishes. These mint state coins, when carefully preserved, can carry a surprising level of desirability in the numismatic world. Add in the possibility of errors, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or missing details, and suddenly a coin that most people would overlook becomes a treasure that collectors are eager to add to their sets. Think about it, you might have spent countless 2014 dimes without a second thought. They jingled in your change, helped you buy a soda, or got tossed into a jar on your dresser. Yet among those coins, a select few could be hiding value, quietly waiting to be discovered. That's the thrill of coin collecting, it transforms the ordinary into something extraordinary. The Philadelphia Mint, marked with the familiar P mint mark, struck these dimes in massive numbers, but the very scale of production opens the door to unique variations. Slight shifts in dies, pressure inconsistencies, or minute changes during the striking process all contribute to subtle differences that, in the hands of a collector, make certain coins stand out. For the 2014 dime, it's these differences that spark curiosity and turn what seems common into something worth saving. What's fascinating about modern coins like this one is how quickly they can capture the attention of collectors. While older coins often carry historical weight, younger coins can shock the community with unexpected rarity. It's a reminder that you don't have to search only in antique shops or inherited collections, the next valuable find might be sitting in your pocket right now. And that's what makes this hobby so exciting, you never know when the next discovery will happen, or what form it might take. Some collectors even say that modern coins like the 2014 dime represent the future of numismatics. Today's pocket change could become tomorrow's prized rarity, especially as pristine examples get harder to find with each passing year. Every time one of these coins enters circulation, it faces wear, scratches, and damage, making untouched survivors all the more special. That's why many hobbyists keep a sharp eye on modern dimes, they're planting seeds for the collectors of tomorrow. And that's exactly why the 2014 Roosevelt P dime has become a coin worth watching. While not every example carries extraordinary worth, the right combination of condition, rarity, and collector demand can make it surprisingly desirable. This is the magic of numismatics, ordinary change, transformed into history and value in the blink of an eye. So as we close today's look at some of the most fascinating dimes out there, remember to keep your eyes open. Whether it's a dime from decades ago or one as recent as 2014, every coin has a story, and sometimes, that story is worth far more than 10 cents. Every collector's journey begins with curiosity, and sometimes the most exciting finds come when you least expect them. And perhaps that's the best part, knowing that treasure might be closer than you think, waiting in the smallest corner of your daily life. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the world of rare and valuable coins. If you enjoyed exploring these hidden treasures with me, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next discovery. Who knows? The next coin we uncover together could be the one hiding in your own pocket right now.